quite a lot left open here as we look for the first pick.
Yep, of course, we'll see if anyone has still learned that Heimerdinger, but Vara's first pick.
That's very different for Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
Of course, Marksmen have kind of slowly been getting love there in the bot side. We still see some Swain. We saw Yasuo yesterday as well in the off-stream game from 100 Thieves, but a lot more Marksmen it feels like.
Definitely the case. With Swain banned out, he's kind of the premier mage that can go into a lot of different roles. Vladimir can as well, but people have slowly been shying away from him. And then, like we said, the Heimerdinger is the other one that you usually see, but is a little bit more difficult to play than some other champions in the game.
Yeah, much harder than Swain, certainly.
Yes.
But I think finally a lot of the bot laners have picked up. Zoe and Gragas, though, are the first 2 picks for FOXA Academy. Zoe certainly still right there as far as top mid lane priority champions go.
Yep, and Gragas as well, being one that was slowly rising with the last patch, the buffs that came in. And, you know, I talked a lot to Medios about it, and he was unsure if teams were tunneling a little too hard on it because while it did receive those buffs, it's not really that different of a champion. And so a lot of people saw the Kindred start seeing a lot of play, and so everyone kind of overreacted to Kindred, like, hey, Gragas can interrupt Kindred's ultimate, or not interrupt it, but knock people out of it. And but doesn't change the fact that you're still playing Gragas every other moment of the game.
Yeah, a lot of other champions can do that as well, so certainly some options there against Kindred, who is not being seen just yet. In fact, it's Braum and Trundle the picks for FlyQuest.
It's probably not a Kindred this game, based off that.
Sad.
The Braum is a very powerful pick. I think there's a Reddit thread talking about how it was the most played champion with over 600 more games ahead of it.
Oh, wow.
But between them and the second place spot. So by far the most popular champion in competitive play over the course of its history.
Well, pretty impressive stuff. And again, like you said, pretty straightforward. Solid in almost every lane. We'll be fine here with the Varus. This is another man that's starting to see more play, although I'm a little less firm on this one. Ezreal seems to be popping back up. I think in Asia especially, think about Korea, lots of play on that champion. Not so much in the West, but I'm not sure he should be back, but he kind of is.
There was a lot of concerns about his early game when he started playing up against the mages. He was always kind of the safe laner. Other marksmen couldn't really abuse him that easily, and then he gets to 2 items, and he's poking you for 1 billion damage. When Vladimir starts all-inning you at 6, and Swain starts all-inning you at 6, and you're stuck under your turret 24/7 against Heimerdinger, then I think a lot of people kind of cooled off on him, but with some of those mages becoming less prevalent and back into these marksman matchups, I think people are liking him more and more.
All right, well, we'll see what Phase 2 holds as bans are almost done, actually. Fox banning Orianna and Yasuo, and Dr. Mundo and Alistar, the 2 bans there for FlyQuest.
Yeah, a lot of all over the place. Some mid lane bans, some support bans, some top bans. It's a little surprising because they're not super mismatched. Both have marksmen, both have junglers. It's just the support versus the mid laner, of course. And we get the Pyke instead.
Yep. I mean, I think a champion that a lot of North Americans are finally picking up, so it's nice to see it both in the LCS and in Academy, although it did see quite a bit more play in Academy before. JJ was actually playing it before when he was on FlyQuest Academy still, right around its release. So I think people are finally respecting the power of the champion.
Yeah, especially with Rift Rivals happening and some good Pyke performances there. People are starting to learn more and more how to play with it. It's a little curious in Echo Fox's comp because I feel like Pyke's really good when someone else can go in first, and then he can focus more on either looking for picks, someone else can play as the front line, and they do have the Gragas for that, but they are a very kind of poke-oriented team comp with their 2 carry picks right now. And while Pyke can kind of go fishing with his Qs and try and find someone out of position, it's not quite the burst that you're used to seeing him comboed with.
No, it's also not the same kind of thing as like Blitz or Thresh or your traditional hook champion. So
yeah,
definitely a lot of nuance to the champion, but always fun to see. No
Ooh,
Katarina,
Ahri.
But Ahri and Rumble actually the last 2 AP picks for FlyQuest.
Yeah, there were some buffs that came in for Ahri. A lot of people really liked how she felt now, so I'm very excited to see her laning phase. Not quite like, it's probably a good matchup into Zoe. I want to see exactly how it goes because you have good all-in threat against Zoe who can be kind of immobile. But it's going to be an interesting matchup because I haven't seen it play out before.
Well, it looks like also maybe a flex here for Echo Fox Academy. Graves is locked in, so going to counterpick jungle and move Gragas up to top lane.
Yep, so kind of a reaction to the Trundle pick. Graves is a very good champion into it early on. You can abuse the range advantage. The fact that there's no gap closer or hard CC on the Trundle means he's pretty easy to take advantage of with the ranged marksman and the jungler. And Gragas up on the top side gets you a bit better of a front line because you'll have more access to gold to go ahead and farm with that.
Kind of interesting to think, we talked about Kindred and how popular she has been. Kind of like, what do you think the reason is to pick Graves over Kindred? Because, I mean, when those 2 champions were the best 2 champions, that's all I saw for many, many, many games in a row.
I think the thing about Graves is he's a little bit more stable than Kindred, who relies on her bounty system, and you kind of need to get to 4 marks, and she has a much more oppressive early game, but if you don't get off the ground, she doesn't really work, whereas I think Graves doesn't quite have that kind of mini game, as sometimes I've heard Meteos call it, lose condition, as I spent a lot of time with him on the desk the past weekend. That's kind of what he talked about it, where it was a great win condition, but it was also a lose condition that Graves doesn't have, so he's a little bit more stable as a marksman.
Makes sense. We've also seen Speaker be pretty aggressive in the few games he has played on the Academy stage. Kind of expected from a young gun.
Oh, yeah.
Playing up into Academy now after just kind of hanging out in the house and learning from some of the best.
And he has a bit of a different story than you're used to seeing. He actually, you know, graduated this year, had the summer off, and was spending it at the EchoFox house kind of for fun and just learning about the game and taking this time before he went to college, and he was planning on doing that. So things are kind of up in the air now because he didn't plan on playing in Academy in the summer split, and here he is. And so we'll have to see if the rest of the, you know, plan stays true, if he actually goes to college or if he ends up getting taken full-time by the pro scene.
Well, we'll see what happens after the summer, but certainly looking to impress as EchoFox trying to push up for some much-needed wins. 3 and 10, not looking so hot. FlyQuest at batting almost 500 after picking up a loss yesterday. A Speaker and Meteos, one of the youngest and one of the oldest players facing off in their positions.
Yeah, Speaker, along with Blabberfish at the previous scouting grounds, both 17, like really, really young, barely 17 at the time. So they are very, very young. Blabberfish a little bit ahead of the curve, already playing in the LCS after the C9 kind of roster struggles as they try and find their winning lineup. And like we said, Speaker more school-focused, hadn't been with the team as long.
See how it all works out. Both starting on red here. There will be cross-pathing for these first few levels. Nothing super crazy happened in the early stages, so should expect some pretty standard stuff. And like you mentioned, kind of excited to see this matchup now that Ari potentially be back in business.
She's always one of those really fun champions to watch. A lot of individual playmaking and agency available in the game. Works with a lot of comps. She can kind of function as a mage, can kind of function as an assassin. We'll see what people plan on building her with. I assume it'll be the kind of typical Luden's Echo first item rush, and then we'll see where they go from there, because some people went for the old, like, tankier Rylai's build with the Ari, and some people went for the more burst-oriented things, so I want to see where he goes.
Kind of clever pathing here from Speaker. We'll get spotted though by that ward in the brush. No, now going to back off the wave. Will be forced off by the Graves there, and Meteos, I think already maybe pathing for some of this, is neither Crab or the blue buff. We'll see what Speaker does. He's going to start this objective here, but spotted by yet another ward.
Yeah, kind of getting collapsed on as Peckinwolf has the priority in the mid lane, can get in there first. They chase him off the Scuttle Crab. I don't think they want to go too much further than that, and they'll just be happy with denying Graves' early aggression, which, like we were saying, that's something he wants to abuse, and I don't think typically Meteos would want to run straight at the Graves in the river, but it's fine when you have your mid laners back up.
Oh, who got that? I think it was.
Oh, he stole it.
No, actually just got stolen. Now Speaker fighting it out. Red buff Graves pretty strong. Yasui now to rotate over, but he's almost going to go down. Meteos does get first blood, but it gets taken out on the other side.
Both junglers playing it pretty close there as we see. Oh,
flash the charm. Actually still got charmed. Tried something, had a flash off the ground, I think. So he's still holding on to his real summoner spell. Not going to steal Peckinwolf's cleanse.
Yeah, so in that skirmish, you know, they're fighting it down very close. As you know, the thing about Graves versus Trundle is usually Graves can't get his Q auto attack off that easily onto Graves, and as a result, he has the range advantage, and then he has the AD advantage. But when you get that AD stolen and Meteos is already on top of him, the Trundle can win that auto attack fight. And Yasui was moving first, and Meteos tried to flash the Paddle Star, but Yasui kind of predicted that and still hit him with it. Take another look at it here as Speaker trying to bait this, just gets a little too close, does get the Smite Steal, but the dash in range, gets him an auto attack range, doesn't have his second dash up to quite get away yet. He's baiting for Yasui. Maybe could have tried to look to run a little bit more, and then Meteos flashing after in case he needed one more auto attack, didn't quite need it, and the Paddle Star still lands. And with that flash, Yasui's able to get the cleanse out of Peckinwolf.
Yep. See if he can land a bubble and get things started from there. It is double cleanse here in the mid lane. Kind of expected, given how potent both these champions' E's are. Speaker, though, still not too slowed down by all this action. Level 4, still farming away, has the blue buff that he's picked up, and continuing to play aggressively on FlyQuest half of the map.
Gonna keep looking for those invades. A little bit behind in combat stats as Meteos went for the double longsword versus starting to grab more of the jungle items. Through all this, the bot lane has not been talked about very much, despite the fact that we got 2 new members down there too.
That's true. Cake and Mabry trying to make their case on Ezreal and Pyke. Not a lane combination we see all that often. Maybe right now is going to just channel that recall. Looks like Cake does have TP. That was one of the other changes on this patch. Cooldown went up by quite a good amount. So we do have a few less here in the bot side, at least for FlyQuest. Ari on heal this time around. But Ezreal, pretty self-reliant champion, like you said, kind of just wants his farm and not much else. So he'll be happy to TP back and take a small minion lead as a result.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm going to want to keep my eye on, because for a long time in solo queue, combat summoners were already better for most positions. The laners in the bot lane, of course, and in the top side, despite how much people associate TP with top lane, generally, champions, regardless of which one you're playing, will perform better with a combat summoner. So if you're in a losing lane, you take heal, barrier, whatever it is, and arguably that's better than TP, so you don't get all-in solo queue and snowballed on. Competitive never quite followed that, but with the nerfs that came in, increased the time on the channel, or on the completed cast and on the canceled cast by a fair amount. We'll have to see if eventually people start taking more of those combat summoners, especially in the more aggressive lanes, like when you have the Darius's versus Mundos and things like that.
Right now, back in the bot side, just a lot of farming though. Varus usually a pretty potent laner, but as you mentioned, Ezreal's pretty good at just not interacting with opponents, at least trying not to. Quan maybe looks, but not going to throw out a Winter's Bite. Pekka here, back to that mid lane. So he does dink 6, ult from the top side. Yeah, Nintendo, I think, trying to get no in, but does get the flash.
Yeah, Noah was able to flash to the far side of the barrel and avoid getting bopped back in there. So good play by him. And also good play by Nintendo to get that summoner. Mid lane's interesting because you see we went for the airy Zoe, whereas for the most part in competitive play, we've seen a lot more electrocute recently. And he also went inspiration secondary. So pretty different rune setup it looks like here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of inspiration secondary, at least in very recent. You see lots of Dark Self Corrupting Potion. Oh, maybe. Does get a nice hook actually on the area, but Quan blocking the rest of the incoming damage. But yeah, it does feel like with mages kind of back in that bit. Never mind, we'll talk about it in a second. Meteor's blinded by the smoke screen. Gonna dance out of the way, trying to contest for this buff here. Pekka also available. Yasui, you get caught in transition. Flashes the chump on the Meteos. Looks for the bubble, doesn't get it, but Speaker able to grab the last hit. All the same.
Really nice play there by Yasui to kind of anticipate the fact that people will be brush camping him there. And as soon as he sees a projectile coming at him, flashes over, gets in range to use the Spell Thief passive as well as land his Q. Good play out of him.
Well, ult for No on the wave here. Looks like Nintendo doing a decent job with his early purchase here. Double Dorans plus Ruby and a non-magic mantle means that his dueling was pretty nice. So No's just going to go back, grab some Sork Shoes and an Amp Tome, moving into what I can only assume his first item, Leandry's here for the Rumble. And actually going to walk back to lane for now, so going to try and save that cooldown if he can, knowing Nintendo already TP'd up there. Yeah,
Rumble, one of the champions who was not super happy as hold on here. Doesn't have enough mana for another Q, it looks like, so can't maybe find that kill. But yeah, Rumble not super happy with those mage itemization changes that came through in the mid-season. He really liked the fact that Leandry's had the flat pen on it, because the whole thing about Rumble was you get your pretty cheap double pen spike into a Leandry's build where you get to burn people down. Now you have to choose between if you want the double pen spike or if you want the max health burn. And separating those two items is something he's not super happy about.
No, we'll certainly see which path Noah chooses, because there is flexibility there, as you said. Meteos checking out the Infernal Drake, usually a good one to try and get early, so 8 minutes 20. No vision here for FOXA Academy. Meteos continuing to kind of do good things around the map for FlyQuest Academy.
Yeah, and good communication, knowing that they forced the bot lane back out of FOXA Academy, and they have this timing window to be able to grab this as the Pyke and Ezreal make their way back to the laning phase and have to deal with those minions first. All around good play by FlyQuest, despite some of the things not quite going in their favor in the kind of mid-jungle skirmishes early on.
Yeah, so we back to lane as well. Looks like both mid laners actually have the Lost Chapter done. And I've actually seen quite a lot of activity. I mean, I feel like both these champions pushed the wave at around a similar rate, but given how aggressive Speaker especially has been, usually being able to get out of his lane seems pretty important. Meteos also doing a good job tracking and defending. So Echo Fox, kind of like the LCS squad, pretty heavy on the action.
Absolutely, and Yasui's been the kind of the guy for Echo Fox, who's been performing well even in their losses. It wasn't too uncommon to see something like a 8-4 Yasuo out of Yasui, which was in a losing effort, and I think it's good that the rest of the team is kind of stepping up around him now. Spica has been doing well. Nintendo continues to perform admirably in the top lane, and the bot lane completely new.
Really nice chunk there as well. Palistar did connect on the Pekka and even got some extra GLP damage as well. Looks like it looks for a harpoon, but not going to grab it. And now Speaker on the side is actually about to get collapsed on, but it's actually 4 members here. Pekka, who's going to get solo starred by Yasui.
That was a coordinated dive by EchoFox. Everyone was setting up in all the pincers and the flanks, and so Pekkenwolf didn't really have a side that he felt comfortable hugging. And as a result, Yasui can just kind of take him by charging it right down the middle, and the easy kill there. Now at 2-0-1.
Yep. Effectively zoned into basically the only avenue left for that star, so he does pick up a kill. Mostly solo, we'll call it. He did the majority of the work and technically did all the damage, but...
Yeah, I don't know if there was an assist, actually.
There was not.
Yeah, so
technically he did it all himself, but certainly the teammates were there, at least
the corralling.
Cheering him on.
Yeah.
It's cake.
Yeah, it's looking like it's backfired a little bit. I think they left the Zoe up saying we have our counter pick prepared. We're going to take the Ari into it. The skirmishes start not working out for them, and now it's the point where Yasui is so far ahead. He's got his Merc threads completed already, so the all-in threat is pretty low. Plus the cleanse is still available, and at this point, Pekkenwolf would probably not be able to find any kills in lane himself unless Meteos is able to find a good angle.
Surprise! Flash check for Speaker, ults out for Meteos, insta-flash forward, does get the kill. Bit of assist there from Quan on the passive as well.
Really nice contest on that blue buff by FlyQuest, getting chased out of the jungle. Now have to be careful.
Here's Cake, Drowsy Brom. He's going to use the ult though just before he goes into Stasis attempt, but Stasis away from the death from below. Now maybe going to run away as Eri flashes forward. Does get the kill into Meteos, but Eri now low. Yasui can potentially line up a few more skill shots, but FlyQuest seem to be out after the 1-for-1 trade.
Super lucky for FlyQuest, I'd say, to get out of there with only one person dead. Eri and Quan both got chunked super, super low. And there was a bit of split focus on the side of EchoFox as Cake was focusing down the enemy bot lane with his ultimate, and the side of Yasui and Mabry were focusing more down on Meteos, and both people ended up living long enough that it took a while to actually get those kills down and allowed them to trade back even.
Eri trying to be a bit sneaky, but does now reveal his position. Cake is pretty low, but Eri maybe not feeling without summons that he has too much threat here. Charm going to land. Damage follows up. Electrocute's going to proc. Bubble's going to miss. Pekkenwolf getting the right end of that trade.
Oh, Speaker's on the wrong side of no. They got him pincered here.
Yeah, very sneaky stuff here from the Graves. Bounces off the wall, forcing the flash. I don't know. Skewer's going to miss from Mabry. Was close, though.
Yeah, I think maybe he's got to throw that one earlier because the way, you know, Pyke's Q works is it pulls them a fixed distance. So even if you're right next to them, you can flip them over your shoulder and could have got that distance away from the wall so he didn't have such a clean flash available. A little slow pulling the trigger. They just take the flash. But as a result, since Pyke shows on the top side, FlyQuest answering very well on a macro level on the bot side.
And it does feel, again, like Meteos' influence on this team is certainly showing in a lot of these map-based situations. Pekkenwolf though under threat. Skewer again going to miss. Been very active on the Pyke. Unfortunately for him, just a couple of pixels away from really connecting for a few more kills.
Yeah, Yasui and Speaker doing a good job of getting involved in plays, and they're outplaying FlyQuest once those happen, but as soon as they take their recalls at suboptimal times, FlyQuest is always in a position to get something for it.
That bubble was disgusting from Yasui, but cleanses there for Pekkenwolf to make it a non-issue.
But still gets the summoner out, so the next time one of those lands, potentially find that kill. This was going down a little slow. It might
who's going to get it? Speaker actually ults for it and does grab it, but someone's going to grab the Herald. Here's the defense. Drowsy. Speaker just going to get in, at least pick up the eye. Yasui trying to do the damage. Flip over the head on for Quan. There's the death from below. Gets the kill. But now root up in the front side. Looks like Pyke tied up as intended. Already dead to Pekkenwolf. Mabry does get away. But again, a nice trade there for FOXA Academy.
Could have been a little scarier for EchoFox, excuse me, but we're able to get out of the pit after grabbing it. You see Speaker does still have the Rift Herald, so it was not a failure of a mission. At least they could still get the objective.
Oh, hook again into Pekkenwolf, but no follow-up available. Herald being channeled, though, just trying to use it right now and take this turret. Already lost the first turret bonus, but never a bad thing to take the mid out of turret. And Shelly should be able to finish it off from here. Oh, no. Needs a bit of help. Meteos gets bubbled, and they escort the Rift Herald over. Meteos, though, actually going to get chunked out. The tower falls, they get the kill. Nice 2-for-1 there.
Yeah, just so much pick-off potential for this EchoFox side. We said they have this great poke comp. Meteos walks in front of his turret to kind of mess with the Rift Herald a little bit and gets killed as a result. We'll take a look at the skirmish that broke out over the Rift Herald. Very close as both Rumble and Graves use their ultimate to try and secure that one, but Graves a little bit burstier. Is able to find it, walk forward, and grab the Rift Herald. And Quan tanks a lot of damage and ends up allowing them to trade back pretty evenly. But Pyke had that spread to him. Pekkenwolf, since he is shut down, did not have very many damage items completed and could not get the follow-up kill onto Mabry.
Well, FlyQuest Academy still kind of at the mercy of a lot of this aggression, but keeping the game nice and close. continuing to play well around the map. You can see they've moved their duo lane up towards the top, looking to knock down one of the easier outers for them to take. This does give priority to FOXA Academy on the bot half of the map, though, so looks like it'll be a dragon apiece. FlyQuest going to ignore the ocean here.
Right, and the question will be, can FlyQuest keep up their superior macro when they're actually down pressure from here on out? Because, like you said, the mid lane turret has dropped. That gives so much control over to Echo Fox, where Zoe can push the mid wave and then potentially roam up to the top side and try and deny some of these other pushes. We'll see if FlyQuest can keep successfully working the map.
Yeah, Yusui's done a great job here in this game. 2-0-4, 100% kill participation, and continuing to show off on one of the premier picks from mid lane. And I just had a quick look back in that inventory, and I see the makings of a proto belt after that lost chapter.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to get those kind of one-shots down. Usually, like I was saying, you see this a little bit more with the electrocute build if you're trying to go for the extra bit of AP and jump forward that you can get for a little bit extra range on your paddle stars. You usually see that a little bit more often, but still going for it. Still a good item for Zoe, of course, that little bit extra mobility.
Yeah, usually just good to pick up off the ground, but actually going to go ahead and build it this time around. Has completed it, so with the extra influx of gold, kind of curious to see how this game plays out for Yusui and his Zoe. Still FlyQuest doing their thing. Almost have the top outer turret done, but here is the Menace himself back to pushing this wave in.
Really will fall a fair amount on Yusui as the one furthest ahead to continue finding plays for his team. And they have a great comp for it, like we said. A lot of range and poke available through all their laners. Gragas and Pyke going to be able to assist in isolating targets to then try and blow up instantly.
Support battle, but just over vision, as is often the case. Speaker also continuing to traverse into the river, takes the Raptor camp, and then walks back around to look and maybe try and find a pick. Mabry going camouflage. Yeah, does get tagged, has to be careful. Everyone just going to back away though, because a little scary. We can't see anyone else as Yusui and Nintendo teaming up to give the mid laner the blue.
I'm a little disappointed, no new Ghost Poro.
That's true. Expecting a lot more Ghost Poro, actually.
I thought Spica could potentially go for it as the Graves. You know, he does have the Domination secondary, got that buff. Maybe it's what you're interested in using, but I can understand there being some better options in that rune selection choice.
I mean, given how often, never mind, we'll hold that thought. Mabry starting to fight off. It looks like, again, Cake can rotate down. Fox happy to fight here if they can. Still 3v3, but no CC really landing. They'll just zone them off and take the crab instead.
Some minor skirmishing in the river, as it does feel like Echo Fox is having a tougher time getting these side lane turrets down with how much pressure they have in the mid lane. They should be looking to either do what they're doing now and find a pick off, or just push the mid wave and be able to rotate first.
Man, Speaker really wants to fight Meteos. He's going to flash the Bone Skewer there from Mabry. Again, the pressure is continuing. Yusui throwing skill shots in the mid. Quan tags one. Goes Drowsy though, uses the ulti. Yusui gonna flash, but it's still straightforward into it. The charm is gonna land. The cleanse though used on the other side around. Tries to proto to safety, but can't get it as the Rumble rotates in. No able to get one kill, and there's the second over to Meteos. FlyQuest collapse for 2.
Really good shot calling there to make sure they focus down Yusui and catch him out of position. Despite having to flash up, he can still be chased down by the very mobile Ahri, and they're able to get the kill on top of him. And we were saying how much of this was going to land on Yusui with him being the most fed member. When you find him dead at the start of the fight, it's very hard to win.
Yep, hard to win the fight and hard to wave clear as well. Nintendo going to try it. TP coming in for Cake. Tower's low, but not going to be felled. They're still fighting it out. Meteos tank quite a few turret shots there. Speaker wants blood. No, Alto does get charmed in the retreat. Cake moving forward. Does get a Q land, but can't connect the second. And Eri, in the meantime, still pushing away. He's going to get the turret.
80 Carry's favorite time when their team's winning fights without them and they get side lane action by themselves.
It's like they were never gone, Mark. Like nothing has ever changed.
Nope.
Back to heal and farming a side lane.
The build's changed, to be fair. Varus, actually, Eri caught a little out of position here as Mabry will have an angle for a hook.
Does have flash and heal. This should be pretty straightforward. Nice ult there just to tie 2 up, and then jukes the hook and gets out just using one pretty minimal cooldown.
Right, and Varus going for the Muramana build.
It's an old school build, Manamune Lethality.
Yep, something you had not seen in a long time, as For a while, there was the AP Ginsu's Varus, which was I thought it was really cool. And then even after that, they kind of went back to the Blade of the Rune King. He still could go between the two, depending on if you needed magical or physical damage. And surprisingly here, like you said, going for the flat pen plus blue build. So I guess the old Archer build, as people call it.
Yeah. Again, looking for a lot of poke. I mean, the W buff kind of helped with the percentage half of the damage, so maybe just wants a bit more flat as we'll watch this engage again.
And it's surprising that this worked out for FlyQuest. They find Yusui just too far forward. Quan's able to walk forward and still just barely catch him with the tip of that ultimate. And now Yusui has nowhere to go. The Aura is able to get on top of him. That gets the cleanse out. And then No collapsed well. Gragas was having to TP in all the way from the bot side, but the Roam made sure that No got there first. He could drop the ultimate on the escape path. That's all she wrote.
So credit to the FlyQuest Academy mechanics. Maybe he's had multiple ults denied by stopwatches already this game. Quan taking heat. Bubble not going to connect though, so should be safe as FlyQuest Academy do retreat away.
FlyQuest lead mostly coming down to the fact that they have that 2-turret advantage. You see they are still down a little bit in some of the gold, especially around mid lane. A full 1,000 advantage for Yusui. But on the flip side, they have 1,000 gold advantage basically in top and bottom.
Nintendude has found a target. No, with no flash. Could be problematic. Nintendude has his, but not going to chase or commit the ulti. Instead, just keeping them away from the Drake as they do want to get yet another objective. Blue Trinket is going to spot it out, but no Steel Force coming. They'll try it. And Gragas able to pick it up. Nintendude.
Yeah, no smite out of Spica. Just all champions throwing their abilities in there. Luckily for Fox, they have more champions there.
That's true. Also an ex-jungler, so not a problem there for Nintendude as he does
True.
get it over. And Speaker's like, I didn't need it anyway. It's totally fine. Also, it looks like Blade of the Rune King might be finished.
Right.
But for Graves, I saw the Cutlass a while ago and I was like, is he really going to do that? And turns out, yes, he is.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I saw that started. Now it's completed. It is the Blade of the Rune King Graves. Curious build, especially against FlyQuest, who are really not that tanky of a team comp. You do have, of course, Meteos, who's got his Titanic Hydra completed, so he's going a little bit more carry-oriented Trundle as he's picked up a lot of kills. I'll hold this thought as we might have a fight.
Bon's drowsy, maybe they're caught in the front side, have to undertow away, doesn't get out. Ari able to snipe him down as intended. Ult Meteos him, it's not a bad cost, but now he has to flash away, gets charmed. Packenwolf able to land the CC and Meteos finishes the kill.
Just way too aggressive there by Echo Fox. Mabry on this pike does not have much mobility, so as soon as he kind of puts himself out there, the Rumble ult can come down on top of that pike, and he doesn't have a way out with no flash available. That's the first kill, and then after that, it's just Nintendude a little out of position. Easy kills for FlyQuest.
Seems like a phase that is starting to transcend leagues, Mark. Echo Fox, no matter where they go, very aggressive team. As we'll watch this fight again.
All right, so they see them trying to escape here. The Drowsy lands, kind of baits Mabry into going forward, looking for the hook. But this is the problem that Pikes have, is because they're so squishy and they get caught out of position looking for the hook, they're very easy to focus down. Airy instantly throws his ultimate out, and you get that old school Varus plus Rumble combo. Varus initiates, Rumble drops his ult on top. You melt down that one member first.
Everyone has a good time, and FlyQuest continue building their advantage. 2,000 gold ahead here in this game. Down a Drake, but they did get the only Infernal that is currently spawned in this game, and a pretty solid tower lead as well. Despite all the aggression and outplays that Fox have found, they have not been able to do much after losing that first turret, despite taking mid out of first.
Right, and it feels like this game is slowly slipping away from them now. They've won the first couple skirmishes, but they were down in macro, but they still had the gold lead. Now they're losing the skirmishes. They're down the pressure in the game. They're trying to find the pickoffs, but FlyQuest are doing a good job of always having more members there, it feels like.
I'd like to point out that Meteos is also a changed man. He held that blue buff for about 10 seconds. Peckerwolf walked all the way from
He's been better for a while about that.
Certainly true. Colin does again take some damage, but Meteos happy to tank the bubble. Peckerwolf so not so happy to tank the Graves. Yasui trying to get the sniper, doesn't quite find it with the Protobot. Speaker low, burning down. No going to try and confirm the kill and does grab it. Ezreal though did pick up area on the back line, so kind of a 4v4 with no 80 carry left for FlyQuest Academy. No, forces stopwatch in the center of 4 and is going to fall. He's going to try and get some damage down, but Cake once again gets that kill.
And this time it's FlyQuest who are splitting their focus up on the top side and in the mid lane. They were fighting two battles on two separate sides. Peckerwolf tried to blow up Spica initially was kind of losing that duel. It forced No to collapse to finally get that kill, but then on the flip side, it kind of left Airy alone near that Raptor pit, and he's going to get finished off. So a nice even fight out of Echo Fox kind of slow this game down for them.
Meteos is unrelenting in his pressure. He's 2 levels down. He's going to force Nintendo away. Actually going to continue fighting here. Did burn the ulti, so he's maybe just able to get the kill here. Shredding through the tank. Meteos gets a solo kill.
Like I said, he was going for more of this carry build. He has the Titanic Hydra able to chew through the resist. Finds that on the back end of this fight. And here you see it initially starts very well. All of them are going through the choke point, but Pekka hops the wall into Spica, which baits Quan over to that side, nose baited over this side, and now it leaves Airy, who went and chased the initial fight path on the top side. He gets caught out by Mabry, who lands a good hook. They're able to find that kill, and since they had such a hard time killing Spica, it allowed them to collapse now onto No as well. They needed to pick one of the two. Either you need to have Pekka follow up on that pillar that Meteos sent and kind of ignore Spica, or they need to not have Airy continue the chasing on the top side of the fight.
Well, in some ways, Meteos a changed man with a blue Earth donation. In other ways, some of that farming carry spirit is still certainly strong, at least in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Almost took down the tier 2 in bot side as well on split push jungle trundles. So he is enforcing his will pretty firmly on this game. And with half of the team's kills, I guess I understand why.
Yeah, absolutely the case. This is what we like to see whenever it's a veteran LCS player in Academy. We want to see that extra bit of carry potential that's sometimes hard to find in the LCS, and Meteos definitely stepping up this game.
Well, looks like FOXA trying to force fights. Yasui fishing for bubbles over the wall, but can't quite find a few. FlyQuest doing a decent job playing defensive, and Meteos hanging out around the sides. Something's brewing. Charm lands. Yasui forced to cleanse, but he gets tagged with a Varasol, flashes away, burns every summon of it. Here comes No with the flank. Not a bad one at all. Meteos finds the pillar, gets the 2 carries. There's 1, there's 2. Ezreal stunned after the shift.
And that is both carries down. That means they're going to turn on to this Baron buff. Spica's still alive, but he's going to have a tough time getting in here. Pekka can just brush camping, be ready for it.
Yeah, no flash, no blast cone. The quick draw instead. They're going to look for the fight. Pekka goes into stasis, trying to fight 3v1. Quan left alone on the wrong side of Baron. FlyQuest maybe just going to try and finish it. Quan actually going to be left to live for a little while longer.
Yeah, not quite as clean as I was initially anticipating with Pekka as he got caught off and forced a lot of defensive spells out of his team.
Spica also no ult. Meteos ults Nintendo again. He's trying to get some stats back to finish off the Baron. Spica wants to get over, but he's not going to grab it. Quan actually stays alive long enough, but now finally died. Over the top, no, stunned and killed. That should be Baron FlyQuest, and it is.
Super dangerous call there by FlyQuest. A little split on who was doing what. Quan, like you said, trying to zone Spica. I guess it worked out in the end as Airy sniped the kill, but Baron was pretty low, and there was a jungler on the other side of that wall.
Still, the spoils do go to FlyQuest Academy. Let's watch this exchange once more.
And this is where things start to go wrong. Pekka was not with his team fishing for charms over the wall. He was also over the wall, which forced Quan to do this long wraparound play to keep him safe. They also got kind of low on that, lost a lot of HP. Meteos wants to stay on the Baron, ults for HP and regen to make sure he can finish this Baron off, and Quan is just on distraction duty on Spica, who finds that kill. Baron gets kind of low, but Airy does a good job hopping over the, getting the auto attack over the wall to get the Braum stun, and then the Q follow up. And Meteos was focused on the Baron the whole time. He didn't see anything but that big purple wall.
I mean, again, objective focus of Meteos has been the story for his games on FlyQuest Academy. Very smart player, a lot of experience, and certainly showing in the overall coordination. Now with Baron and a pretty healthy gold lead, FlyQuest Academy should do very big damage to the structures of Fox. Yasui, though, still trying to poke people out, but not really doing anything but tickling those tanks.
No, that's the big problem, is that Meteos with that Warmogs and massive health pool with 3 HP items completed is more than willing to walk up and eat a full Zoe combo and be completely fine. Maybe he loses a third of his health bar, maybe half at worst, but then we'll be able to regen that back up very quickly. So despite the triple ocean breaks for Echo Fox, it's Meteos' regen that's going to be proving to be a problem.
Beckenwolf also doing some split pushing, currently in a 1v3, but jukes around the skewer as tier 2 in mid lane does fall over to FlyQuest. Echo Fox still trying to keep these waves out of the way. Haven't lost their inhibitor turret just yet, but getting a little too close for comfort right now.
Echo Fox does have really good pokes. They might be able to find a way to force FlyQuest back as they land another chunk on Airy. Almost killed him there. I'm not sure.
Yasui got the paddle star through, I think, as Mabry again trying to jump onto Pekka who burns the ulti to get away safely. Seems like Fox will successfully defend this first siege.
Yeah, Yasui waited out the Braum spell shield, which was up while the Drowsy was effective. So people kind of left Airy after that. They said, oh, the Drowsy's off. He's not asleep anymore. But he still gets pinged by Yasui, and I think the Proto Belt was just short of tagging him as well of the Pavel Star, and if both comboed, they might have actually killed Airy.
Oh, also think Mabry pulled him back through the bubble that was on the ground. So certainly, again, you talked a lot about the cool pick potential between the Pyke and the Zoe. Fox had a lot of that playmaking not quite break their way in the early stages, but you're going to need some miracle angles at this point to pick off one of the two important carries. Even No's not a bad target, but both Mages have a Zonies, and the other one's a Varus behind a Trundle and a Braum.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of defensive tools for FlyQuest. A big reason why these fights haven't gone worse. Quan has done a good job of hopping between the primary target and the damage dealer a lot of the times and keeping them alive. We saw it at the Baron replay where Tekkenwolf did not get exploded because he was able to hop that wall. Now it's just about if he can continue to keep people alive as they try and siege versus a very annoying poke comp.
Yeah, I mean, Varus took a pretty good job on the poke front himself. Kind of going, now actually has the Duskblade finished. And actually maximum lethality, I think. Meteor's tanking again, but he's just fine. Goes drowsy, but doesn't even eat some follow-up damage.
Looks like he's going for another carry item. I assume that Phage will turn into a Triforce.
I hope so.
I expect it to.
Not sure we're going to get that far, but we'll have to see. Certainly Meteos knows that if it is going to go a bit longer, he just wants to make sure he's able to 1v1 people all game long. FOXA Academy, though, have waited out the Baron buff, so the game may very well extend. Yeah,
I mean, mission accomplished in a sense. After you lose a Baron buff, you know, post 25 minutes in the game, if you're able to get through it without losing an inhibitor turret, that is not bad at all. They were able to. They almost found that pick off as well. So you see why their comp is able to stall out pretty well is you're forcing enemy back to their base.
It wasn't their first plan, let's say, but you know, not a bad fallback plan given what happened. And they also did get a third Ocean Drake in amongst it all. So that poke takes a lot to stick here. FlyQuest Academy couldn't quite punch through in that siege. So we're kind of back to somewhat neutral grounds here. Still up about 5,000 gold for FlyQuest Academy. And there is another Drake that will spawn before the Elder if we get there as well. Another Infernal up for grabs. FlyQuest Academy could maintain their monopoly.
Definitely feels like an objective Echo Fox wants to fight over. Don't want to fall behind that scaling advantage, which is probably already a little bit in FlyQuest's favor. I have to imagine the Rumble will be a more useful team fighter later than Gragas, barring some god tier Gragas ultimate. So they'll want to grab that. Do not end up too weak.
So curious to see where Cake is going. Yeah, can see the second tier charging up. Had a pit stop at Mordia Speaker, not falling for that trick again, by the way. Already died in that very brush.
Well, what's very funny about the build path from Speaker is Meteos has kind of made it very effective against him by going for so much HP focus and not actually getting any armor. The Blade of the Rune King does a ton to Meteos at this point. So what was at first maybe a little bit of a questionable build. Maybe Speaker just knew the future. He knew Meteos was going to get huge. He had to start itemizing against him, and that Blade of the Rune King looking pretty good right now.
Metagaming his opposite position, I suppose. Sure, Meteos goes drowsy, but too far away for Yasui to effectively follow up. The FlyQuest will continue their siege here of the mid lane. Seems to be the one they want the most. Pillar going to get tagged. Yasui forced to flash out of the way. Nintendo tagged up with the Varasol. Gets out of the way with the body slam, but still kind of low. Packenwolf trying to chime in. Maybe tries to jump for it as well. Speaker takes a chunk of damage. Meteos again continuing to tank Paddle Stars, but still pretty resilient here on the Trundle.
Does feel like FlyQuest won the poke trade though. They have triple Ocean Drake, so they're going to want to regen up before this Infernal Dragon spawns. They have about 30 seconds to try and avoid some poke out of FlyQuest before, so that they can contest this.
Yep, Speaker off to push the bot side as well. It's why the fight started actually for FlyQuest. Bubble not going to hit onto Packenwolf, would have been a good pick. Now all in, back in onto Meteos with no ult, but does have his flash instead. Just a soft commitment there for FOXA Academy. Meteos continuing to eat poke though.
Fortunately, that's the one person you don't want to poke on FlyQuest side. They don't have any Ocean Drakes. It's only Meteos with the Warmogs, and so you'll see him tick right back up to full as this Infernal Drake spawns. Fox are going to have to be pretty quick, because there's a lot of damage on FlyQuest to take this down quick.
Yeah, they got to go right now, and I think it's actually already too late. They blue triggered right as they started, but damage is too much, and they don't quite have enough vision or traction around the river to try and pick a fight. Instead, they'll push it through mid and try and cut some people off from the flank. As Quan, again, taking some chunk. Finally, someone worth poking does take some damage.
But still a win for FlyQuest, grabbing their second Infernal Dragon of the game, and now it does feel like no matter what happens, they're going to have this kind of scaling advantage. Ari will be able to one-shot very effectively on 3 items with double Infernal Drake. Rumble will do a ton of team fight damage. Varus will be no joke with his poke as well.
Ooh, drowsing onto Quan. Jumps back to his teammates. Yasui not going to fall in there for the Paddle Star. No squishies to really tag. Quan eats a Mystic Shot there, but Meteos continuing the front line up against Speaker. Speaker, they're pretty strong, but Meteos also not bad himself in a scuffle. Packenwolf diving forward in for Speaker. Speaker looking for the outplay as Cake does slay Quan. Meteos low. Speaker actually did it. Turned the 1v2. No. Looking to go down. Stasis is going to protect him from the pike ult, but not from the last shot in from Graves. Shotgun. Fox win the fight, and they're onto Baron.
Big misexecution there by FlyQuest. They got really greedy for Speaker, and Packenwolf once again kind of pulls the trigger by himself, but doesn't find the kill. Baits his team out, and once again kind of splits that fight and allows Quan to drop on the backside.
KK, a lot of damage here though. Yasui trying to poke, gets the Drowsy in onto Eri. That's the target they want. They're going to charge it back through. Mabry gets a stun. Yasui finishes it off. Now going to zone Meteos out of the way as Fox are going to continue on the objective. Baron goes down though. Really well played there by FlyQuest Academy. Maybe looks for one last hook, but not going to get it. Instead, they'll take a few kills and the buff.
And just as I was kind of being concerned for FlyQuest's future in this game after losing the Infernal Drake, they find this nice fight for themselves. Quan gets poked out really early on, and then they kind of tunnel onto Speaker. Meteos wants to charge him down, but it's not very easy, as well as Packenwolf then is the one who tries to go hero mode. But on the backside of the fight, No had a good zoning ultimate, but once that drops, they're able to chase forward onto him. They finish off Quan early on as well, and then No has no way to get back to his team.
As Bubble plus True Shot Barrage finished off the Braum. And like we saw Speaker in the front line, a lot of heroics to make that work, but certainly did get it done. Looking for Guardian Angel next, so not slowing down when it comes to aggressive Graves builds. Both these junglers actually building in a very entertaining way, I'll say.
Yeah, I like Speakers a little bit. I'm still not sold on the Blade of the Rune King as it's only effective against Meteos, and luckily, I mean, that's who you're hitting most of the time due to how fed he got. But outside that, not super effective. But the rest of the build, A-OK, eats a lot of poke.
Speaker too far forward. No, might be okay. Does ult out, pops his stopwatch from the GA build path. Meteos again grabbed back through by Mabry, but Charm is going to land on a pike. That's a bit better. Packenwolf on a killing spree, able to take down that very squishy support. Nintendo, nice buffer through the pillar with a body slam to only give one casualty over to FlyQuest.
One of those weird games where it feels like whoever wants to be the aggressor is the one who ends up getting punished there. Now Speaker might be out of position over some wolves.
Yeah, Meteos getting shunked, but he's too far forward. Meteos unstoppable, able to pick him up. Can't quick draw in time over the tree line. Yasui, ooh, almost finding Quan. Nice dance moves there, actually, from the Braum. But Yasui still going, pops over the wall, and Proto Belts just to do a bit of extra damage.
With that, though, FlyQuest, despite losing the Baron, has map control back, as there's 10 more seconds on Mabry and almost 35 for the Graves. And it's getting a little dicey here. This is going to tick out most of the Baron buff. We'll have to see if either team has enough pressure after that to just force without any major neutral objective, or if we're going to be in the waiting room for Elder Dragon.
Maybe. I mean, you can see Cake with 4 items actually doing quite a good job, both hitting champions and minions, clearing 1v2. With a bit of pressure coming in. Meteos tag, nice lead there from Yasui on the bubble. Whoa. But again, just not the best target. Packenwolf though chunked down very low. This looks like the fight they're going to go for. Mabry gets a stun off to Meteos. FlyQuest trying to collapse to the mid turret. Yasui again looking for a Packenwolf flow. Finds his way back into the fight as Mabry dies again. Yasui able to get the pick off on the other side, but it's a 2-man loss for FOXA Academy.
Yeah, but Speaker has respawned. He's going to chase them out of the base. So despite winning that fight, getting 2 for 1, it does feel like FlyQuest is maybe too low to continue pushing, or they are staying around the mid lane because they have a fat wave in the top side. Yeah,
Meteos actually escorted it up and then just munched down the turret on the Trundle, so continuing to take matters pretty firmly into his own hands. Fox do lose some inhibitor turret in mid, looking to lose top as well, with Meteos getting that job done, or getting half of it done, as Nintendo and Speaker move up to clean the wave. Still lots of bouncing between here to be done by FOXA Academy, but Yasui snipes no one. That's the end of that push.
Got to be careful now, make sure they don't lose anyone else in this chase down. Elder Dragon in just over a minute. Packenwolf dead for 10 more seconds and No dead for 45. No inhibitors down, so there's a chance that Echo Fox can use this brief man advantage as Cake respawns to get some vision control around this Elder Dragon. They have 3 oceans, so they're definitely interested in getting that true damage burn. Maybe they can use this to set up the vision advantage to secure that objective.
Yeah, you can see 2 control wards, 3 really if you count the little triangle for FlyQuest Academy on that side, but that's all going to get cleared out now. Cake and Mabry sweeping through. We'll take that down as Speaker grabs the crab. 30 seconds till the Drake is up. No will be back up and ready to go on the map. So if the objective is started, there will be a fight for it, but Fox trying something in a brush.
Yeah, just not enough pink wards. Luckily, they swept out all the enemy vision, but they don't have that much themselves.
Mabry again trying to get that skewer, but now with the midway pushing back up and their inhib open there in the lane. Gonna have to be careful. Cake shifts away from Meteos. Ooh, Mabry with a decent little bit of poke, but again, not the person you want to be hitting. Wave starting to pressure up, so FlyQuest gonna lose traction here onto the objective. Fox have to stay if they want to fight for it. Quan on the front side takes some poke, but hops back away to Meteos.
Yeah, lost the mid priority, and as a result, had to vacate their little brush camp. Also feels like FlyQuest has enough of a front line. They might have been able to contest it. Now it's Echo Fox who are forced to walk forward into this Elder Dragon pit.
Yep, Speaker again. Oh, he's going to try for a steal perhaps instead. Not sure if Fox can commit to a fight. Yasui finally off the wave in mid. FlyQuest are committing very hard to this objective.
Ooh, lands a Drowsy.
Onto no. Damage poke. Oh, not bad. Nintendo tries to find the big play. Speaker with the finish off the buff. Eri got Nintendo, but they did actually get the dragon. Mabry is ticking down low, but Speaker caught out on the other side. Quick draws over the wall, finds the blast plan, gets Pekka-Wolf out of the way. Meteos almost burnt down as Cake forced to run in a 1v3. Yasui still living, gets damaged down, but he doesn't get a kill. Eri also poking away. Yasui trying to find no, but doesn't grab it as Speaker still fighting very strong on this Graves of the Elder Dragon.
What an insane Elder Dragon fight. It's not quite over yet. FlyQuest are trying to get out. Yasui's on the chase down, has a spare flash. Ooh, but that poke was enough to dissuade him from going. Now Meteos wants a piece.
Yeah, back again to full from the wall mug. Speaker sends him some taps, and Meteos will go back to the jungle instead. That was chaotic to say the least. There's no is barely going to save this top outer turret. No! Yeah, it died.
That's not so bad, given that they didn't lose after this Elder Dragon. A really nice bubble by Yasui through the long part of the wall, lands here and it baits FlyQuest into grouping up, but Quan gets in the way. Even though the three-man body slam happens, the ult face plants into that wall and knocks everyone back. Mabry gets baited in during this time. Spica does the smart thing and focuses down the objective, and Fox gets split on the tail end of this. Really critical that he was able to auto that blast cone and split them up. That charm was on the way over. Cake, with no one left to peel for him, ends up going down. Yasui is trying to find the kills, can't quite do it. It just felt like they got a little bit greedy with the Nintendo ult. If he just held that a little bit, just get the stun, or just get the ult and then back out after you get the dragon, that would have been fine. But because he's overextended now and gets charmed on the tail end of that, Mabry dives in as well. They lose too much of their front line to really fight using that buff.
Yeah, it's been a lot of aggression here from FOXA Academy, and it's cost them in a few spots already in the game, but still fighting here. Elder Dragon ticking away for a little bit longer on at least Yasui and Speaker. And given how much damage they have both done this game, not bad people to have the buff on.
No, but they still need to find some way to start that fight off. Obviously, Yasui's very happy to continue poking away, but the Pike Qs have not been super effective. He often is the one getting chunked out after walking forward like that. And Nintendo playing Gragas and DeBron, man, that is just not a fun matchup.
Also, sidewave management's been really nice here for FlyQuest Academy. 2 big waves for Yasui and Nintendo to have to follow. And now Meteos actually trying to solo down Yasui. He's got all the balls behind him. Speaker actually almost caught in transition. Pops collateral damage for a bit of distance. Here's the TP up. They need to save their Zoe. Pekka-Wolf here is Nintendo. Tries to get it out of the way. Not a bad cask at all. But now Meteos going to flash forward onto Yasui. The bubble's going to miss. And Meteos just chased him down for the shot. Here's Mabry, finds the skewer, but a charm in onto Nintendo is going to let him go down. That's 2 good picks there for FlyQuest Academy.
That might be game, given how much of the team fighting fell on Yasui's shoulders here. There's no more front line for Nintendo to walk forward and contest this. They're going to be able to grab the Baron. They have a huge wave in the bot side. They can take this and continue pushing right away, as there's still 40 seconds left on both members of Echo Fox who are dead.
Take no ult either, so steal chances are 0, as FlyQuest Academy will pick up the objective. And again, despite how much Fox are fighting, the FlyQuest map play has continued to be a strength in this game.
That's really the biggest separator here, is we see the fights going back and forth. The fact that they're able to find these pickoffs in the side lanes, they're able to grab more objectives just with having their waves properly prepared. It's making it very hard for Echo Fox to find a foothold even when things go right for them.
Inhibitor turret also falls in bot lane thanks to that wave management, so now 2 inhibitors up for grabs here. That's been the toughest thing for FlyQuest in this game, is actually breaking those down and starting the supers pushing in, because Fox have been very stubborn in their defense of their objectives. Can't really blame them, but you have to think with another Baron buff here for FlyQuest Academy, not too tricky to at least get that started, and once one wave of supers comes in, the second and third are often to follow.
Yeah, it was tough for FlyQuest to siege down the turrets initially when Yasui and Cake were poking away at people, but now that the turrets are out of the way, they can walk up to the inhibitors much safer, and the defense becomes much harder for Echo Fox. So we'll see if they can hold on, and maybe they can punish FlyQuest for going for the Baron instead of going for the end or something with those 40 seconds that they had.
So Meteos, given that the build he has gone for, which is the Trinity Force, as you suspected, he's going to choose your objectives, so don't even need to do too much in the actual team fight. Once you get free time to start taking them out, it's pretty straightforward, and actually Peckenwolf in mid is going to take down that inhib with so much raw AP built up. It's actually a pretty good split push candidate.
Yeah, and especially with the ultimate giving 3 dashes means he's going to be very safe. He can also collapse to a fight in the top side if it breaks out.
Meteos again pulled forward, but just really shrugging that all off. Pops the pillar, forces everyone away. Nintendo caught on the front side again. Is going to die to no. Inhib in left is going to melt. Quan getting low, tanking up a little too much Zoe poke. But Peckenwolf is just kind of doing everything correct here for the rest of the team. We've already got 1 inhib. His team forced for top and got that, and that's 3 inhibs with 1:30 left on Baron. Charm lands. Q's good as well. Speaker almost die in 1 combo, but Peckenwolf does not commit. Had no ulti dashes really left.
Not able to find anything, and even though they repel them from their base temporarily, they do lose all 3 inhibitors, and it's beginning to feel like the end here for Echo Fox. They've done a great job holding on through everything else, but triple inhibs is often seen as the death sentence.
We'll see just how brutal this push really is. FlyQuest Academy going to get waves pushing, try and synchronize them if they can. Meteos also camping, does get swept out. Mabry going for a stun. Not sure Meteos really wanted to do this too much. Brush camping, maybe in too much of his forte. Ari though on a rampage, takes down Mabry as he does have his dual lane to answer. And now Quan chasing down Cake. Yasui does make Quan drowsy, sleeping. True shot barrage, wonderful combo, but it's barely not enough to pick up the Braum. Quan gonna go back home after that one.
Yeah, 2 dicey plays in a row. First, Meteos almost getting cut off, baiting. And they're able to find the kill onto Mabry, who once again was too far forward. And then after that chase down, though, Quan was getting a little overexcited. He almost drops as well. Is delaying the push a little bit as they had to have their support go back to base, but I feel like FlyQuest is still in a great position to end this game.
Yeah, maybe with 7 deaths has to be rough, but that's one of the things about Pyke. He's just so squishy. Even going a legitimate top lane tank build, basically. No real support items to speak of. Just too squishy in so many of these situations.
Yeah, only having resist, no HP, as Peckenwolf gets chunked out early on.
Yep, Nintendo also getting chunked though, so is Cake. As Meteos finishing off that first turret. Looks like it is going to be good look here for FlyQuest. 1 turret to go through. He still needs to get a little bit more done, but Eri unstoppable, able to take down Nintendo. Next exposed. Pyke trying to get a pick off here and there, but Mabry is going to go down again. Meteos goes godlike as they'll finish them off in the fountain. FlyQuest Academy are going to take the win over Echo Fox as Eri ends it with a quadra kill.
A very, very hard-fought game for FlyQuest that they're able to close out. Started in Echo Fox's favor, was up in the air for a little while, but the superior macro reigned supreme.
Certainly looking good. I mean, extremely back and forth. That game with constant skirmishing, but came down to the big objective fights in the late game. It was a fun one, I'll certainly say.
Oh, yeah. It was action-packed, 22-14 at, 35 minutes in the game. Is a pretty good amount of kills.
Kind of a longer game than I think we may have thought as well. We'll actually pull up a replay in just a second. 40 minutes in, there's an Elder Dragon fight that kind of really gets things going here. This was a close one.
And this felt like Echo Fox's best chance back into the game after falling behind. They have a really good pick-off start by Yasui, landing that bubble. That kind of baited the rest of the team to go forward on that play. As you see the tail end of it, the Gragas got his ultimate blocked by the Braum, the tough part of playing that matchup. And as a result, they no longer had an opportunity to find any pickoffs. Everyone was too far away. They did secure the Elder Dragon, but they had already kind of gotten too spread out over the course of that fight.
I think credit to the limited frontline that FlyQuest actually had in this game as well. Both Quan and Meteos did a great job tanking what they could of the poke, given how many good squishy targets there were. They certainly defended their carries well.
Yeah, both teams had a lot of poke on them. I think by the end of that game, Eri was taking half of a carry's HP bar just with a single Varus arrow. So it became very difficult to frontline when people were getting killed from behind you and you were doing the right thing.
We'll have a look at the final fight in this game. The last-ditch effort to defend the base, unfortunately, was frugal. Leads to a quadra kill for Eri right here at the end.
Yeah, Eri finally getting the kills he deserved, I guess you could say, after poking so many people out. Meteos charging forward, providing a front line. The Rumble ult great onto 3 members, burning everyone down. And then Eri able to just start sniping them down. There's the first one. Everyone kind of charging into that last-ditch effort. Lands an ultimate onto Cake. He's going to get taken down in a second there as the rest of the team was charging to the front side. Nothing they can do to defend this base, just too little too late.
And interestingly, that was really the only big major fight in the game. There were a lot of different like objective fights and lots of map movement and lots of skirmishes, but we really didn't get a full-on team fight because every exchange felt so close. It was just FlyQuest kind of being a bit smarter about how they were using the map and their resources.
There's almost no aces for sure. I mean, there was always 1 to 2 pickoffs, and then they would get into a really, scrappy fight. And while that led to a lot of kills, like you said, there were no game-deciding team fights really. And maybe they could have played a little bit more aggressive with their advantages on the side of FlyQuest, but it was really hard when Yusui was being able to snipe out members of your backline and make pushing so difficult.
And I think it's funny that even though FlyQuest, changed someone else, they have Meteors coming in now for the jungle. We can see kind of the influence and experience making the team better. But we can't exactly attribute all that to Meteors without them plainly telling us. And I think FlyQuest continue to be a team just full of really solid players that play well together. I can't really name an individual standout because everyone kind of did their job in this roller coaster of a game, MarkZ.
Absolute roller coaster. You see the damage numbers from the Poke champions are gigantic.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think FlyQuest lost some of their explosive playmaking without Shrimp and Keen available. And Meteos is a very heady player, and so they've kind of improved what was already a good strength for the role players that were on the team last split in No, Airy, and previously JJ, now Quan. And Meteos kind of has that same strength. He's not the crazy, I'm going to make plays for you, and then with my lead, go ahead and close the game out cleanly. And I think you could see that in the early game a little bit where they were not able to win skirmishes effectively with Peck and Wolf and him.
I think matchup-wise, it's pretty cool to see these two teams play because on the other side of the coin, EpicSkillshot kind of feel like all aggression, and I think they lost the macro on the way into the studio or something because it just wasn't really there in a lot of situations.
I think you could definitely tell this is a team playing with nothing to lose. Sure. A lot of these guys were not at the roster on the start of the split when things started going downhill, and now that they're already in a precarious position, they're not really playing with any inhibitions. They know, hey, this doesn't really reflect super on me. I wasn't here at the beginning, and I'm just trying to look good now.
We talk about imbalance and experience as well. I mean, it's one of the newest junglers ever to competitive and one of the oldest in Meteor. So I think Speaker individually, extremely aggressive in his decision-making, but very impressive in how he's executing. Maybe just needs to calm it down here and there.
I mean, I'd rather see more of this than the opposite, to be honest, especially with the young guy on a team that's not performing well. Go out there and try and carry the game, and I think he started to do that, and he played a lot of skirmishes very well, kiting out a number of times, and where you saw him getting most abused was kind of going to support his laners, which is something Meteos is fantastic at and got them a number of turrets. That was not something Speaker was clearly great at.
Well, certainly a good effort, but not enough to get the win over FlyQuest. We're headed for a break, but when we come back, it's a battle at the top. Canalogic Gaming versus Cloud9. You're watching the North American Academy League.